It was just kind of the start of the summer. They've been out of school for like 2 weeks. And I noticed that the whites of his eyes looked a little yellow. I called the primary care doctor, his pediatrician, and he said, well, you know, sometimes kids eat something or take a medicine that can bother them. Bring them in the morning for lab. And we drove to the pediatrician and he did a lab. So I went back to work and my cell phone rang less than 2 hours later, and it was the pediatrician saying, you need to take him immediately to the hospital. The doctor was like, we're calling you an ambulance. You have to go to Children's right now. We don't know the reason, and these numbers are really high. And the next morning, the transplant team came in and started talking about transplant. It's like every day they ran more and more tests, and every day Monty got more and more confused and weaker and sicker and sicker. By like July 6th, he just really declined overnight, and they moved him to the critical care unit, and then the next morning he was intubated in a coma. And then he started having seizures, and he started having pressure on his brain, he started to get fluid buildup, and started to get really sick. And they sat Jose and I both down and explained to us that if it had to continue to go up, they would have to take him off the list and he wouldn't qualify for a transplant. So we were literally waiting for waiting for a miracle. Yeah. Then he did get the transplant. You know, he had to relearn everything. He had to relearn how to sit and stand and walk and feed himself and dress himself. And his liver rejected after the transplant, so then he had to get treated for rejection again. So he had to go on more meds, and those meds made him really confused. So he eventually went from the critical care unit into their inpatient rehab unit, where it was like daily OT, PT, speech, counseling. It was intensive, but they were wonderful. The team there was incredible. They got Monty back to getting dressed and playing and doing things that a boy should be able to do.
I can't believe I'm going home. I am so excited.
So right now he's home and he's still doing therapy, and he's also doing tutoring because he hasn't been able to go back to school. And he's working on building his strength with his new puppy, Winter. The first night that we brought Winter home, Winter slept in his room with him, and it was the first night that he slept in his room without waking up with a nightmare. With the help of the team at Children's and our family and our friends, he's starting to come back to being the funny, social, more active kid that he was going into the hospital. But I think what has changed is he is frustrated with feeling tired and feeling sore, and you know, he fell asleep crying. Monty fell asleep crying, and he was crying because he's like, I'm so tired of not feeling well. It's hard because we're so thankful and we're so grateful to have him home, and having the organ is such like the gift of an organ transplant in itself is just, it blows my mind. And it was really nice to have this call that said, hey, we're going to help you do something that will be super positive and exciting to look forward to in the future.
Oh my God!